I didn't know it'd be mostly my nice face. I'll
Dude,
go back and
on?
take a shower today.
You should. I took a shower today.
Yeah.
I didn't shave, but I took a shower. I put on shoes, which was a big thing.
Shaving
walk
is a
to the
little
garage.
creepy during quarantine. It is a little creepy. For like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why?
But it's weird in quarantine. Like I have no beard, but in non-quarantine, I had a beard. So I feel like my whole life went backwards. I'm downloading old video games I used to play as a kid. Like it's raining like my hometown in Vancouver. Everything is just not the way it's supposed to. It's very unsettling.
Well, it really is taking me back to 15 is the age I found, because it's no car. You might as well not have a car these days. And I'm watching movies. I'm not going to parties, not getting invited. And it's just talking with my friends on a 3-way call like Lizzie McGuire and watching Lord of the Rings and Star Wars. And it's like, I mean, at first, you're like, oh, what about my comedy club dates? What about I'm supposed to do hot tub? So it's like, once you get over that, I'm like, oh, I'm a kid again. This is pretty great.
That's what it feels like being a kid.
Yeah,
because you have no ability to manage your own freedom.
Right.
Because we became adults to do that.
This is what I would probably do. Like, it's kind of nice to have the freedom to do that and not feel the guilt of like, yes, I watched 3 Lord of the Rings today. And you know what? That's what the government told me to do. So I don't feel bad. And I'm doing, I get to do podcasts on Zoom and get to do shows on Zoom. I'm as busy. And it also, like, stand-up is like 99% of my income is stand-up.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe every once in a while I'll get like a sketch thing on Comedy Central. But for the most part, it's just standing in front of drunk people and jokes. And now it's like, I can do, like, today I did a show, like Zoomed a show. It was like a corporate in Georgia with
you did a corporate?
Jenny. Yeah. Me and Jenny did a corporate show just in her room. It was great. It was, and that was at like 1. And then, I did a Zoom with my siblings, and then it's like doing podcasts and Instagram lives.
Yeah.
It's like, it's kind of accelerating. Like I used to do 1 bar show a night in LA for 20 people. And then on the weekends, I would do a half full comedy club for some drunks in Ohio.
Yeah.
Maybe all told through the weekend, it's 500 people or something.
Yeah.
So it's like, but now it's like some of these live streams, it's thousands of people watching. Some of these podcasts, it's like, it's kind of weird. And I feel weird to talk about it because people are like, oh, doesn't it suck? And I'm like, I kind of think things are going better. I've had a pretty good couple weeks. I'm getting followers. I'm having fun. I get to do, even though Zoom shows aren't as exhilarating as being on an actual stage, it still is a thing. You still hear laughter. You can still like do your jokes.
Do you stand? And
stand.
Yeah.
I like to stand.
So you give them the full experience?
Oh, yeah. I want to give them the full experience. I have a margarita. I'm ready to go. Like, you're still getting the full Caleb.
Yeah. And so when you're doing, did you get paid to do the show, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah.
Like
some of them are flat. The one today was like a rate. But most of them are like tips and stuff. And then at the end, I'll like plug my bootleg special thing where it's like, people will Venmo or PayPal me, and I'll send them like a 45-minute video of a show I did in Atlanta. Yeah. And I honestly, I know this sounds weird, but I did not think things would go this well. Yeah. People will repost and be like, hey, check out my buddy Caleb's thing. It's not even a real special. It's just a video of me doing stand-up in Atlanta. Yeah. But somehow now this ragtag, like, oh, one of the mics sounds weird, so you can tell somebody's phoning in. It's like solidarity. It's like, yeah, we're all doing it. Conan's sitting on his couch with his kid running around. Like, I think it's kind of it's a weird thing, but.
And it's less contrived because like a real show, they had a discussion like, should we do it at home? Should we just get some camera guys?
Right.
Like for us, it's like, this is what we have. Like we don't have a real show. So they're making the aesthetic
We're putting
choice.
out things that are as good as anybody. Every comic is equal now. And I got to tell you, I've been getting in front of more people online than I ever have before. So I don't hate it.
Well, online is infinitely scalable, as we all know, right? So your audience can grow exponentially where, in person, it's 1-to-1, one person, one button seat, all those things.
Yeah, my dad's doing it too. My dad's a preacher. He's on Instagram. He's on Facebook doing
your dad's
sermons.
A preacher. It's all coming together now.
It's crazy, man. Like he's doing great. He's thriving on there.
He's like the guy in that show, Messiah.
Yeah.
Everything's just going to the next level for him.
He's doing great. Honestly,
that's awesome.
I wouldn't be surprised if next week my dad has more followers than me. I mean,
he's a stage name, or is he the same name as you?
Same name, Bert Synan. Check him out.
Bert Synan.
Yeah, he's got a big Easter broadcast coming up. So check out your boy.
It still throws me off, and I know you talk about this in your act, that like you're so like Georgia American because you have a very ethnic look.
Right. Everybody thinks I'm something.
Some sort of Middle Eastern-y maybe.
Yeah. Lebanese is the one I hear the most.
Yeah.
When I open for Kenny G, he comes up to me in the green room, and he's Kenny G. It's a real guy.
Kenny G, like the jazz player?
Yeah, I opened for him one time. And he comes up to me in the green room and he goes, Afghanistan. And I was like, what? And he goes, we're all talking, like we all watched your video before the show, and we were like, which country do you think? And I put my money on Afghanistan. And I was like, Ireland.
Yeah, well, because the Irish can look at what's that famous Irish actor, very good looking guy with the dark features?
Ooh,
Colin Farrell.
Yes, Colin Farrell. Yeah.
Like he's not Irish. People always think like redhead, but you can also be like a Colin Farrell, like to have dark features too.
Or old handsome Colin Quinn.
Is he Irish?
I don't know. Probably.
I mean, I think he's Boston, right?
Something. Everybody in Boston's Irish. I've seen The Departed. I know how it goes.
Yeah, Departed. Yeah, and we met at Flappers Yoo-Hoo Room. Like
one of the finest rooms.
Finest. It was a great show.
Yeah.
And then I remember you were sitting at the bar, like on the inside, like having fish and chips, like one of their specialties.
That's your boy.
After the show. And I was like, dude, you were hilarious. Let's get you on the Comedy Bunker. And you did it a few times now. And
I love the Comedy Bunker.
And look at us now.
What a title.
Honestly, the best name for a show that no longer exists. So,
hey, honestly, how does the Comedy Bunker not keep going? I mean, I think the CDC has got to let bunkers stay up and running.
There was a bunch of mannequins there left over from a video shoot, and I was gonna go and just set them all up in the audience and like do like a kind of like a mockumentary. And this is before the Tiger thing came out.
Right.
And I was like, gonna just pretend like I'm insane and doing like keep the show going. And people are like, why are you doing this? I'm like, there's people here. What do you mean? And we never got around to it. And now it's like, this is like when it was semi-quarantine, when it's like you can kind of go to work, and now it's like there's nothing. It's just do not do that.
Right.
I even felt weird, to be honest. Like I haven't seen anyone other than my family in like weeks, and I just dropping the mic to you, I was like, oh, as a person, like how do I
it's so
how
strange.
Far do I stand? I'm wearing a mask.
To see a face that you recognize is like wild.
It is wild.
Because we see the people at the store and they got a mask on, and you're like, oh, that's a person with a mask. But like someone you recognize that you haven't seen since, that's crazy. Like if I was just out for a walk and I saw anyone I know, I would probably fall over. I'd probably pass out.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
But it's also like the rest of the people you don't know, they're now zombies. Like, I don't trust them. I'm like, they look crazy. It's like The Walking Dead. It's like, I'm like, get away. What are you doing? And there's this like inherent like mistrust of people now, which is, it's not going to be good for society going forward.
No, I mean, but hey, what else? What's ever been good for society? It's you know, maybe we need a little more distrust. But sometimes my parents would like not lock their cars, or they'll be like, "Remember when we used to not lock doors at night?" And I'm like, that was never a good idea,
right?
Ever.
That was Canada.
What is it? The story of Adam and Eve. They had two kids. One of them killed the other one. That was the first go. That was the first go round. Like, so I think that's a good lesson. Look out for your own brother. He might kill you. There's like seems like a 50-50 shot of getting killed by your brother. So let's calm down. Let's calm down, but let's also be careful. You shouldn't be trusting nobody. Nobody should be trusting. And then these people, ooh, I'm quarantined up with my boo. Hey, you know who the number one murder suspect is in every case? Them. So look out.
Imagine if you had like regular roommates that wasn't like a significant other.
Oh yeah.
That would be horrible right now.
Oh boy, you get a, I already think one of them's using my shampoo. So
I'm sure they are.
yeah, extrapolate that. It's getting bad.
I did grow up in Canada, and we did not lock our doors, and it always drove me nuts. Like, I'd come home,
Yeah.
I just felt so, as a kid, I mean, I was a latchkey kid. I'd come home, there was no parents there, and I never felt safe with the doors always open. Like, things would get stolen here and there. And Vancouver was like a very high property crime town.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was Detroit, then Vancouver. It was that bad. And like, there'd be times like I saw this guy come to my door and he was knocking, and I caught him knocking. I'm like, "What are you doing? Can I help you?" He's like, "Oh, I'm just selling like insurance." And he was super suspicious. And I was like, "All right." So I went to work, and 15 minutes later, alarm going off, and they wheeled out like the TV, and this is like CRT TVs. Like, this thing is heavy, and it was just like, I don't know. Vancouver was rough like that.
I didn't know Vancouver was like that.
Yeah. Not like violent crime. Like, it wasn't like gangs and stuff, but it was definitely property. Like, your cars got broken into all the time. I moved to America where it's safe and people lock their doors, is what I'm trying to say.
Right. Everything's going great in the States. If you get sick, you can see a doctor for $1 million. It's a great deal.
Yeah. But like, is it that bad?
I don't know. I don't know anything. I stopped. I mean, all I'm doing is I'm obeying the rules I was given. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not doing anything. I did all the things, and I stopped watching the news. So I don't really know how bad it is. I'm just going to do this till I get an alert on my phone that says, go outside.
Right.
So till then, it's
That's
Star
a really
Wars.
Healthy way to look at it.
Yeah. I'm having fun doing pods, doing my Zooms, catching up on every movie I've ever liked.
Yeah. So it's such a great time to catch up on stuff. And I thought I would be like reading. Maybe I'll learn a new language. And I'm like, that's not going to happen.
No. You ever meet somebody? Everybody who speaks 8 languages is real sad. You meet them, they go, "Ooh, I can speak 8 languages. I just found out about a comet that's going to blow Earth up." They never have any good news. The more languages you learn, the sadder you get.
Yeah. The less, because you don't really know them all.
Right.
You don't have a good sense of humor, because you need like the humor in the language is like that next level you need to get to. Like, I can speak French, but like I can't tell jokes in French or like be funny in French.
Hey, well, I went to Montreal to watch some French comedy, and let me tell you, no one can. No one can tell a joke in French.
God Elmaleh can.
They got, you know what? They got good wine. They got nice paintings.
Yeah.
They got a good cheese.
The food is the best. Even in Quebec was like the restaurants, it was amazing.
Yeah. I mean, they'll get their comedy will get there.
Yeah. There's a few guys, but it's, you saw God Elmaleh, like he's the -- French comedian.
He's pretty good.
He's pretty good. And he came to LA, and then he tried to do it in English, and it worked. I went and saw his English show at the Improv, and it was great.
He's good, but
it took dedication.
Who's the second best French comedian?
No idea.
It's Eddie
also
Izzard in a
Elmaleh.
French accent. That's who's number 2.
Eddie Izzard, good ref.
I mean, this is going out to the world. I'm sure there's great French comedians, but it's not funny to say that. So I'm going to say it's bad. So if you're in France, keep listening to the pod.
If you take any of this too seriously, then you are that second French comedian. All right. So just take it easy.
I'm not gonna stand by anything I say. So if you go, "Ooh, what about that thing you said?" I didn't agree with it. I was just talking.
I didn't even know I was being recorded. Was this a pod? Who knows?
No, I didn't know what was happening here with all this. And
Yeah. You didn't know I was going to Chiron the logo in the corner. And
what's really funny is this is what CNN is at night. It's like Chris Cuomo and his brother being like, "Hey, Ma said you're doing pretty good with the... Ma said you're doing good with the response." And he goes, "Yeah, Ma said you're a second favorite journalist." And they're like, "Oh, It's just that, like, they're just FaceTiming, telling old family stories. It's like, this is the whole world now.
Yeah. And they adapted the quickest. I felt like the news was like right on it.
Oh yeah. The Cuomo brothers, I think they were just like, "Hey, why don't we make our FaceTimes a show?" Like, I bet they were just doing that anyway. And then all right, I guess we'll do a screen record.
It's also going to be weird when production value comes back. There's like one day, like everything is good again.
Well, wouldn't it be funny if, they always go, "Oh, we bombed them back to the Stone Age." What if it wasn't, what if that did happen? So it's like, when we start making movies again, it's like Gone with the Wind. You know?
Yeah. It's just black and white for no reason. The suits are ill-fitting.
Every movie's got to be silent for 10 years till we can figure out how to get mics working again.
Yeah. But what it like that could happen? Like if we just erased all knowledge of, because everything's built on something else.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like computers. Like people are starting to forget how to write like the base like machine code. And at some point, like we're going to be so just using things and we'll forget how to make things.
Whoa, is that what WALL-E's about?
Is it? I've never seen it.
I feel like that was what WALL-E was. I don't know.
I've never seen WALL-E. I have kids and I've never seen WALL-E.
Whoa. Now there's the first line of the great American novel.
Yeah. And you were doing so good. I mean, you still are doing great, but like you had a role right before this happened. You did the Dynasty thing with Norman, which was great.
Yeah. Things were going, the whole people to people thing was going pretty good.
Yeah.
But that is, it's one of those, it's like a wish on the monkey's paw where I was like, man, I need to focus more on my online presence. And now I'm like, oh, it's the only thing I'm legally allowed to do? Great. Yeah. I guess I have to now. So yeah, I mean, things are going pretty good. And it's also like every network still exists and they need stuff. They're going to run out of shows in like a week. And so
they will have not been producing shows. So if you can come to the table, especially with ideas, you might be able to get your whole thing greenlit.
Yeah. That's why I'm writing
a guy
the next
from
Star
Georgia
Wars.
with a preacher dad. Let's do it. All right. That's enough.
Right. So, I mean, I'm not nearly as worried about it as I was like the first week. It's like, people still need money. Some of them are dumb enough to give it to me. I'll buy cheese with it and chips. And that's all I need to survive. I got my margarita, I got my cheese and chips.
Yeah. I mean, are you a margarita guy? That's your drink?
That's my favorite cocktail. I like beer too and wine and stuff, but my favorite one, this is also the only one I know how to make. I can shake them up or blend them, and that's about, it's the only thing that makes me feel like a what do you call them? It's not a sommelier. What do you call it?
A mixologist.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. But when people drink a margarita I make, they go, whoa, what else can you make me? And it's nothing else. And I also can't cook you anything, so.
Yeah, you got skills. I like a margarita, just like fresh lime juice, Cointreau, tequila, salt. That's how I do it. Is that how you do it?
I think the way they taste best is, blended up frozen with the ice, triple sec, frozen limeade, tequila, a little hint of beer. I think really brings it out, keeps it from being too sweet or too sour, gives it more.
A little bit of beer?
A little bit of beer, yeah.
Oh, wow. I'll have to taste one of these bad boys sometime.
Hey, let me tell you, I'll throw one to you from a few yards if you want.
I started an impromptu. I was in the middle of the day, like watching my kids. I'm gonna throw up the camera and just record this. And I did a thing called Cocktails with Latif. So I have grapefruit trees. I took grapefruits, I like blended them, poured them in a thing with vodka and salt, and it was stupid and funny, but it was fun. I was like, this is good. I'm gonna make a little show out of this. Dude. Every week, like a new cocktail.
Honestly, that's what we need. I need something to watch. I'm gonna run. I just finished Tiger King, so we got to do something out here.
Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna try it tonight. Like I did 10 minutes of Tiger King. I'm like, I get it. They're weird, crazy, but people.
Well, let me tell you, it gets weirder. It gets a lot.
Yeah, but
weirder.
I've heard all the memes and all this, like the bits. So like, it's all spoiled for me now.
Honestly, I mean, you could also say that for Star Wars, though, or Lord of the Rings, or Game of Thrones. But I mean, you can still enjoy it. Like
that's true.
What
if you knew like Titanic? Like I guess you did know that, right? We all knew.
I did know Titanic.
Yeah,
but if a movie's any good, it doesn't need to rely on its surprises. Like The Departed has a pretty crazy ending, but I can still enjoy it knowing about how crazy the ending is. It's like, honestly, I think you give Tiger King a shot.
All right, tonight I'll watch episode 1,
dude,
with the wife until she makes me turn it off.
I'm telling you, you'll watch the whole thing. There's no way to not, because I've never seen a show like it. You don't root for him really. You know he's insane. You know he's kind of an idiot and an asshole, but you still want to know what happens. Like,
right. And I love the mockumentary format. Like, Spinal Tap is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Oh, Spinal Tap's great, but Tiger King's is real.
Yeah.
It's not mock.
But he was on, one of the guys from the show was on Schultz's pod, and they were talking about how it was kind of also fabricated in a way. Like it was heightened to be like the craziness.
Whoa.
And they tricked one of the guys. I don't know any of the characters, so you'll have to watch his pod to get the real deal. But he's basically saying like some of these people were brought in under the pretense of this being like a real documentary for animals. And then the producers and everyone kept being like, be crazy. What do you think of like Carol? And people are like, what? Like, what do you, I mean, I'm trying to like, I thought we were doing tigers or something.
Whoa.
Yeah, you should watch it. If you, I mean, it sounds like you're a fan of the show. So check out his pod.
Well, that's fascinating. There's going to be a documentary about the documentary next where it's like.
Right. The real Tiger King. I'm sure they're working on it.
Well, that's fascinating too, because however you get people to say things that crazy on camera, that's bananas. Like,
yeah.
Things I'm like, you should never tell that to anybody.
Right.
And they're just like, let me tell you something else about it. You're like, no, you're admitting to 30 crimes openly. Like
and you can listen to that accent forever. Like it's just like a great, it's like sing-songy.
Yeah. Guess what, motherfucker? All day. That's all I want.
So you saying your online presence has grown, and so what are you actively doing daily to make sure it's growing, or is it just the result of naturally doing what you do?
Well, it's just that I think I'm I'm like some mayonnaise. I'm not that great, but people keep using me on a sandwich or a burger. So I feel like a lot of people, they're like, oh, we should have on this live stream, or ooh. So I think I'm just this ingredient that, I keep getting thrown in there. And people just know that I'm a certain kind of comedian, a certain kind of guy, and they're just kind of throwing me in there. And I keep getting thrown. I mean, I'm doing it like every day. So it's, I don't know. I think it's a fun, I don't start in these Zooms. I don't have a podcast, but I'm just in them all. I'm participating in a bunch of different things, but
right. So you're like the guest everyone wants to have right now.
I'm the who am I? I don't know what I am.
You're the Tom Hanks of Zooming.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm the Dean Martin, but then I was like, what am I, Dennis Miller, using the oldest references?
Dean Martin, yeah.
I'm like
I would just have to agree. I'm like, I guess he's. Yeah,
I don't know.
Sure.
I don't even know what I'm saying, but.
Yeah,
I might start a podcast, but it's like, I don't know. I'm fine just being a guest. All the time.
What's the dynamic of also in comedy? Like, do you produce a show or just be in shows? Do you make a pod or just be on pods? Like, what are you trying to spend your time doing? I mean, it's, as someone who's done both, it's a lot of work doing the pod. It's a lot of work running a show, and it's like,
and I hate work.
And you can't, right? We all hate work, but it's also like it takes away from the comedy. It takes away from the writing. It takes away from the doing. So if doing is what you want to do, like why, and you can do it, like it sounds like you're making your income still, everything is still good. Like why make that step to do something that's going to take away from the core of what you want to be?
Right. So, and it's also like, I like doing comedy, but I also like, just watching movies and doing nothing. I love that.
We all love that.
So it's like, I don't want to be replacing that with editing and, SEO. I don't even know what it stands for, but I hear people say it.
You're describing my day yesterday, editing and SEO.
Oh my God. That's like, hey, you want to do your taxes every day of the year? No.
Yeah. No,
I don't.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I like to be involved. I like to come hang out.
Yeah.
But it's like the idea of, Bill Burr's got that thing about you don't want to own the boat. You want to be friends with the guy that owns the boat.
Exactly. There's certain things like, and Seinfeld said a version of that too. Is like, they're like, do you want to own the Mets, Seinfeld? He's like, no, the best thing you can be in baseball is fan. Like owning the Mets is like one or many steps below that. It's money, it's time, it's stress.
Yeah.
Being a fan and having a beer and a hot dog, like that's the peak.
That's as good as it gets. That's totally true.
A lot, we're so, society driven to have more, do more, own more, that we get caught up in these things of like, owning a boat would be a good idea.
Yeah. Oh,
they say the best days, like the day you buy the boat and then the day you sell the boat. Those are the two best boating days.
Oh yeah. Well, you know what else? The rich people have a lot of untrue sayings to cover up how great being rich is. So,
That's a good saying.
oh, more money, more problems. That's the least true thing I've ever heard.
That's funny. That's a good bit. Because there's a
rich
lot of
people.
them.
Yeah. And a lot of them are about boats. They'll be like, oh, the boat, the rising tide lifts all the boats. We're out of the boat. It's I can't relate.
Maybe we should stop using yacht references. You're like, quiet, peon.
Yeah. Well, they'll go, half a yacht's a lot. Oh, great. It rhymes. It's about a boat. I can't relate to any part of this. Can you give me a saying about my dad's Netflix password? I'll relate to that. How about a saying?
There's a famous investment book. It's called Where Are All the Customers' Yachts? Yeah. And the point of it being is like, this banker was sitting, this is like in the early, I think 1800s, 1900s, something like that. They're in New York when people had yachts. Like there's Rockefeller's yacht, there's JP Morgan's yacht. And then the guy interviewing him was like, well, where are all the customers' yachts? Aren't you making them money? And it was like, the whole thing is like, they're all getting rich, but like they sell you the dream you're getting rich. But in actuality, like the people taking a little piece of all the transactions are making the money.
Right. Yeah. And then you got the globalist lizards who are, they run the bank and then they get for Dick Cheney.
The lizard people?
Yeah.
And you live with a comedian who's also your girlfriend? Is that correct?
I live with Simon Gibson and MK Paulson.
Okay.
So I live with a lot of comedians.
But not Jenny?
No.
Oh, okay.
I live with
for some reason I thought you guys lived. Oh, so you have roommates.
Yeah.
And so you guys are dealing with that pretty well?
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm over at Jenny's place, but
okay, yeah, because I heard you talking to her, so I was like, oh, you must live with her, blah blah blah. But
yeah, MK got mad. He was like, "You've abandoned me. You've abandoned me for a woman." Yeah.
Well, that must. I mean, those are two of my favorite guys too. I love Simon. He's super
two of the
funny.
funniest. Yeah, it's great. Yeah. I recommend living with them too. Not yet, but when I move, if I move out, someone live with them. They're fun guys.
Well, I feel like my life is like it was moving forward for a long time, and now it's moving backwards. So I'm starting to do so maybe I think eventually I will live with them, like at some point soon. I mean, you're doing well. You'll Zoom your way out. I'll Zoom my way in, and just let me know when there's a vacancy, and I'll be there. I can pay my rent on time, maybe.
We all at some point live with Simon.
Yeah.
That's just life in LA. You're going to live with Simon for a couple months.
Yeah. And then do you clip your stand-up?
I've done a little bit of that. I usually only like to do it if it's like a TV set, so that it looks really nice and it looks like it should be out there. Mm-hmm. I know some people have had luck with just a video of them at a club and then they caption it and put a little title and hashtag and all that. But for me, I found the thing that I'll do them if I get a TV set, I'll do them with a TV set. So, but I've done that a little bit and I got, a few thousand followers doing it and that was great. But I'm hopefully, I mean, that sounds so insane right now that I'm like, I'm waiting for television to produce again.
To come back.
Right.
It is hard to know though. It's like, is the clipping thing, you never know what inning of something you're in till it's over. Like, are we in the third inning and there's like 9 more or I don't know baseball, 6 more in this thing, or is it too late and it's just the guys who got in have it and that's it. It's like a pyramid,
Right. Yeah. I don't know anything. I don't know how anything works. I don't know how pyramids work.
Upside down pyramid, right? No, I don't know.
I don't know how comedy works. Sometimes I don't know how people be like, hey, how's the joke? I don't really know how jokes work. I just try a bunch out. The ones that work, I keep. The ones that don't, that's all I know about comedy. So it's not like
the process.
I don't really know how my own jokes work. I do what sticks. And I do that with everything else.
Like you sit around.
Usually I'll do that with the thing so I don't forget. Or to remember the set order, but I have terrible penmanship and I can't write more than a few words before I can't even read it.
You get a cramp, you're like, yeah.
Yeah. So I'll just do keywords and stuff.
Yeah.
And then
so you take those keywords on stage?
Yeah. I'll put them on the stool and stuff, but it's like, I also, if I write, I write smarter than I talk. So if I write out a bit before I say it, I'll say it and it won't sound right. It'll be me saying, previously, I remembered an occurrence. And I'm like, words I would never say previously or occurrence. Yeah. Like just smart people words that don't really help me get laughs. Right. So I usually just I try to do as much. I know the joke, but as far as writing it, I try to settle on the words. Like I know the setup and the punch, but I try to settle on a wording that sounds like how I talk instead of how I write.
Right, yeah, because it's different voices.
I'm a lot dumb. I talk a lot dumber than I write. Like I'm pretty smart on.
You
writing.
Are smart. You don't give yourself enough credit.
But I talk like Forrest Gump, so
it plays to your advantage.
Limited vocabulary.
Hey, this is real unprofessional. My kid's banging at the door. One sec.
Hey, this is what the people tune in for. They want the real day-to-day kids jumping around, CDs in the back. There's some Post-its over there with some unpaid. Ooh, that's a signed confession. Carol Baskin's husband. Diet Coke. That's the water. I'm out of things to think. We'll edit all this out. They can edit out all the... One thing I know is that we'll fix it in post. And I also know everything is edited perfectly. So, I mean, I can just go ahead and start writing. If you'd like, viewing audience, I can read you what I got so far. I'm writing a Star Wars movie. No one asked me to do it, but I thought I would read it and be funny, but now that I'm looking at it, it's very personal. I didn't even do the thing where I changed the names. Where you ever write a story and you're like, oh, these are the names, they named all the names. I just like to name them all me.
Sorry about that. Hey. So who's in your Star Wars film?
All of the characters are named Caleb.
Okay. Caleb Wars. Just a war to see which character is doing what.
Well, that's how I wrote when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I never even intended anyone else to read it. So I just make myself the lead character in everything I wrote. You know?
For projects or just like your own personal?
Just, when I was a kid, I didn't even think anyone else would ever read what I wrote. So it was just for me to have fun and write a story. So everybody would be like, Caleb, there's no point in coming up with some name that sounds real, but also a little fake.
Yeah. But what made you become a comedian? Like, what was the genesis of all this?
Well, I always thought everyone wanted to do it. Whenever someone would tell me they didn't want to do it, I didn't really understand. I'd be like, so you've seen Seinfeld, you've seen at night at 11:30, comedians come on and it's great and we laugh at them. Like, why would you not want to try that? You know, it's not like being a doctor where people can say no. It's like, right. Like you don't have to go to school. And like, if only 1 million people think you're a good doctor, you're in jail. But if 1 million people think you're funny, you have a nice living, you know?
Ah, that's very insightful.
Right. If 50 million people are like, that's not a good doctor, then you're like a butcher. So
yeah, you have to be universally good.
Yeah, with comedy, you only need a certain amount to even think you're funny to succeed. Yeah. And you're allowed to start. You can just go sign up for an open mic and start. And the barrier to entry seems... So I was just like, well, you see Seinfeld, why would you not want that life? Like, why would you not... He's hanging out with his friends, eating cereal, and they're
yucking it up.
Right. And when I was in college, as soon as I Googled... I think it was when I saw the comedian documentary and I saw him bombing. I was like,
it's so great.
Oh, so if he can suck at this and have this much trial and error, then why I have no excuse to not go bomb. If he is willing to bomb, I should be willing to bomb.
Yeah.
And then within a month I was started. That was when I was 19. So, and then once you start, there's no like, you're like, oh, I get to meet these people. And in Atlanta, it was like Clayton English and, you know.
Yeah.
Shalewa Sharp, Dulce Sloan, like Noah Garden Schwartz, like all these great comics.
Yeah. In Atlanta?
Yeah. They were all going when I started.
Nice.
And
Seinfeld has a great saying, and I think it's like an interview with him, some audio interview. And he was saying, they were asking him, like, how did you become a comedian? Like, what do you think of the people who are funny, but don't become a comedian? And he says, like, well, why would you not want to do it? He's like, and I think everyone who can do it will do it. Like, if you have the ability, you'll at least do it.
Right. And there's some funny people who just seem to not care. Like, you ever meet someone funny who's just like, I've got a Pizza Hut I run. And I'm like, you're the funniest guy in the world. And they
you're
go,
a character.
oh, yeah. It's so weird. Like, sometimes you meet a hilarious person and they just don't seem to have a, but I'm like, wow, why would you not? Like, there's people who aren't funny at all who end up succeeding at this. So why would you, with some talent, not try?
Yeah.
Because there's people who have zero talent who succeed. So,
do you think that's true? Like, zero talent succeed?
Yes. I think there's people with a crafty mind and a marketing edge and things like that, and who aren't actually a talented comedian, who can find a way to squeeze success out of it. Yeah. You know, the same way there's people who aren't talented politicians who are in running stuff.
So kind of like a pop singer who may not be the best singer, but they're getting through because they have the image and the look and it's just everyone's kind of on board.
Yeah. I mean, you meet some people who can sing who aren't famous, and then there's some people who are famous. Bob Dylan does not have a great singing voice. Yeah. He's a great songwriter, but you know, there's some things you just can't account for. It's like there's people who are not talented, who really don't have a special voice, who are millionaires, singers. Like, so.
Yeah, that happens. But that's more of like a team effort. Like, you can get a guy to like auto-tune the vocals and someone to like make the music, and you just show up. But like with comedy, it's still, at some point, it still is all you on stage. And so there has to be like, it can't be zero talent. I get what you're saying, but like some people are maybe have achieved a lot more than what their relative talent should say they do. Right, if it was all 100% equal, like, and talent only is the only thing, there's a lot of people who have definitely earned more income than the talent of someone else who hasn't, if that makes sense.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean they have zero talent.
Maybe not. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's an amount. But I mean, there's some people who, you know, when the rubber meets the road, you go watch them in a club with people who aren't their fans, and they got nothing. They got no chops. They got no jokes. They got no actual like stand-up thing to show. Sometimes you feel like you're on another planet. You watch someone with their fans and you're like, I don't even know what, like, I know you're speaking English and they're laughing at the end, but I've seen some people where I'm like, I can't even figure out what the setup or punchline was. Yeah. You just kind of seem to be, and these people just must worship you or something. But I mean, I'm sure
sometimes
nice
it's like
fans.
you're paying to hang out with this, like your friend that you've maybe listened to on a pod or whatever. Like, I think Anthony Bourdain and these celebrity chefs, they were going around doing like live shows where they wouldn't cook. They would just talk to people. Mm-hmm. And it's like the same thing. You're like, I get to hang out with Tim or her, and like we're going to talk stories. It's like inviting them to dinner, but like one way. Yeah,
it's super weird. Now I'm like, is that going to start being that way now? Like, where people are going to be like, I'll pay to FaceTime with Tom Hanks. Like, or just is because that you can't really do a live appearance. It'll just be like, I guess, privileged Zoom.
It's actually a really good idea. Like, start a website where you just have, these are the people. If you want to FaceTime with you, this is the amount. And like, that's what it is. See? And people can set different amounts.
Yeah. We just got rich.
We just
now.
did. 10,000. What do you think? I think Tom Hanks is probably like $100,000. You'd probably do it.
Whoa.
What do you think?
Well, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like what he makes, what it would need to be for, like, if it's an hourly wage, you know, because he gets what, $10 million to star in a movie, something like that.
He's so nice. He probably would just be like, you know what? Yeah. Don't pay me anything, and just let me hear your story of why you want to talk to me, and I'll just choose and donate. Yeah. I mean, he's got to be like 100 million strong if he's smart.
Hey, now if he doesn't do it, he's a huge asshole because we just put that idea in everybody's head. Now they're gonna be like, why hasn't
Now
Tom
he has
Hanks
to do it. Tom,
Yeah.
and he got corona. Like, tell us about it.
Right. I want to hear more from Tom, and I want him to pay me to hear it.
What would you FaceTime with anyone for right now?
I mean, as long as it was, I mean, I used to work for $7 an hour in Georgia, Jimmy John. So it's like,
in Georgia, $7 is like, that's like a month's rent. Like, doesn't.
Rent is, it's more than 7.
Rent's more of a concept in Georgia.
My rent was like, when I worked at Jimmy John's, it was like $200 or something. So.
Damn. Wow. Yeah. My cheapest rent in Vancouver was, I mean, it's Canadian dollars, I think it was 600. Like right
well, I also
college.
shared a bedroom. So it's like, it was me and another comic, and he had a bed and I had an army cot. So.
Okay.
I guess it was technically 400, but
technically
like,
400.
That is exorbitant.
And 400 in Canadian is 600. So we were paying the same rent somehow.
Yeah. Yeah. I think 4 of your own walls is going to run you 400 USD.
Yeah. I think that's at a bare minimum.
No matter but now,
like,
at.
We're changing the dynamic of society. Like, you can not pay your mortgage for a few months. Like, there's like forgiveness. There's unemployment is now $1,050 a month in California.
What?
Yeah.
Damn.
So like everything is changing. And like relative to were you in LA in 2007, 8?
Mm-mm.
So there was like the writer's strike, which was happening, and then went right into the financial crisis. And there was no like generosity the way it's happening now. There was no like huge unemployment benefits. There was no like, we're going to spend all this money to get out of this. It was just kind of like, suck it.
Yeah. Well, that's an entire political position throughout history is suck it.
Yeah.
And they've employed that with a lot of things where people are like, and then people will stand there like on C-SPAN and be like, well, how about if we say fuck them? And then there's millions of people who are like, I vote we say fuck them. And it's like, come on. It can't be.
Well, because there was no way. Now there's so much backlash. You do anything, you say the wrong word. It's like there's social media, you're fired. And everything was like more behind the scenes. Now it's so transparent. Like there would be a mob if they didn't do this right. And if we go to 6.6 million people filed for unemployment last week. Oh, if we go to like 25% unemployment or something, and the government hadn't done this would be like a revolution.
Right.
People go in the streets with pitchforks or whatever.
And that's 6 million. That's not even including the people who have started podcasts and gotten Patreons and people who are clearly, scrambling for another.
Yeah.
I could start a podcast next week. I don't know. Probably not, but maybe.
Yeah, if you wanted to talk about it and do it. And I mean, it doesn't take much. This is a pod. You would just be, instead of like hanging up with me and I take the SD card, you would take it and then you'd upload it. It's not that hard.
Right. That's the whole podcast economy, is who takes that SD card.
Right. Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about. I mean, you were pretty technically savvy working through this and getting it all done and hooking up different pairs of headphones.
But you hand an iPhone to a baby and they know how to do stuff. So
that is amazing.
Yeah.
My daughter just signed up for like kids version of Facebook Messenger. I'm like, this is all bad.
What?
Yeah.
Whoa, for kids?
Because her friend, well, now her friends are on it. I'm not into this. We might delete it, but because she's always, I'm like, she's already getting addicted. I'm like, are you doing your homework? No, she's like chatting with her friends about who knows what. Right. She's 8, but like they have things to talk about. It's so exciting to have your own device,
Yeah, it is.
And she doesn't even have, she just uses my iPad. So like somehow she installed the app on there. She's doing it. Like she's Amazoning herself packages. I don't know.
It's like, how did kids just like, and is it just that you're young and like you can learn a language quicker when you're young? Because you hand an iPhone to an old person, they don't know.
Yeah. And it could be that they see us with it too. So like it's slow. It's like, hey, fine, pick your song on Spotify, or like, okay, fine, here, just watch this video so I can, talk to my doctor or whatever. Yeah. That scenario never happened, I swear. But yeah. So they're good with it. But now what I'm having to go through, and a lot of parents, is like homeschooling. So they're like, yeah, just, we're just going to do this remote, and it's like a Zoom class, And the kids are like, this sucks. Like I have a 4-year-old too. And he's like, I don't want to be in a class. Like I'm in preschool. He's like, you're trying to give me Zoom preschool? I'm like, they just need to cancel this. Like it's such like, this is not, they're trying to hold on for dear life.
Was it nap? A Zoom nap? We're going to watch
he's past the nap stage. Oh no, he would nap. Zoom nap.
Wow.
It's just an adult leering at your kid while he naps, basically. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh man, I should pitch that to them straight face and they'll probably do it. They're running out of ideas. They're story time and the teachers, they don't know the technology. So like I would like parents are leaving their mics on. Some guy's making a sandwich in the background of his kid. It's just like I'm making that face, just like kill me.
It's like you've seen The Naked Gun, right? I saw it for the first time like a couple months ago.
I love The Naked Gun. Leslie Nielsen. He's a Canadian. So good.
One of the funny that movie makes me laugh, and I'm kind of it's almost where you're like embarrassed because you're like some of the jokes are so dumb. Like I love Dumb and Dumber, but Naked Gun has some of the dumbest jokes I've ever seen in my life, and I don't know.
Ever.
Sometimes I don't even know why I'm laughing. It just it just gets me.
Yeah.
Like that he never parks his car. He only crashes his car. He never just parks it successfully. It just every single time I was like milk squirting out my nose. I don't know why. It's the funniest thing.
I loved all those movies, like Hot Shots Part 2.
I have not seen Hot Shots either.
Oh, you gotta watch If you like, you will love Hot Shots.
Check it out. I got time.
Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Okay, I've seen that one. I love that one.
Love that one. I love Spaceballs, obviously. Like all those. That was the kind of humor I grew up on. That like quasi Mel Brooksy kind of like making fun of something. But also just kind of like on an insider level where like things like the car, like not everyone's going to laugh at that, but some people are just going to love it.
Yeah. And then there's some jokes this is one of I still don't totally get why I think, because technically, if you asked me, is this a good joke? I would have to say no.
Right.
But when he goes, they go down to the dock and what's his name? James Kennedy?
Jamie Kennedy?
Whoever the guy on Naked Gun who's not Leslie Nielsen. Maybe it's
I
James
forgot his
Kennedy
name.
or something.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
his last name's
that sounds
Kennedy.
right.
And he goes, he's like, all right, we're here now. Do you want to take a... He goes, all right, we're here. You want to take a dinghy? And he goes, no, I took one at the station. And you're just like, okay, that is a bad joke.
Yeah.
Like, are you calling taking a shit taking a dinghy? But the fact that they sell it so hard in the context of like a hard-boiled dialogue, and neither of them deliver it like a joke. They deliver it like dead serious,
deadpan,
and never break. And they also look like they should be in one of those movies. So to the point that it's like, I think it's just the commitment that is so funny to a joke that bad and that ridiculous. I don't know. There's something about like part of what makes dad jokes, and people don't want to talk about this. Part of what makes people hate dad jokes is the delivery. It's not that the joke itself is that bad. You can deliver a dad joke and crush with it.
Yeah. It's also the shorts. It's the shorts too.
But dads are going like a comedian from 1812, like me,
like huh? Like, come on, yeah.
No, if you sell it like Leslie Nielsen, you can crush every dad joke. People just don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's all comedy is, confidence. So like the second you don't have confidence in what you're doing, it's not funny. Yeah. I mean, that's the whole Don Rickles. Half of his jokes literally do not check out with logic, English, language, nothing. No. You know, he's like, what is this guy, a hockey puck? I don't know what that means. People are laughing. No one knows what it means. Nothing. Right. And he's very upset about it. He's riled up. Right. Being riled up is funny too, you know?
Riled up. So that's the key to comedy. Riled up or deadpan. You got to pick one and go with it.
Yeah, I mean, Bill Burr is he's also one of the greats, but he's also very like, where his energy is going to be. It's going to be at this vibrating level up here. And you're like, I'm into that. This is what I want to. People being angry is funny. It's like, it's very funny. Being annoyed, like that's.
Yeah. And what really sucks is when you see it in real life and you forget it's not a show and you're like, and then they're like, no, I'm legitimately concerned. And you're like, but I mean, it's kind of. My dad's like, no, I'm going to kill you. And I'm like, but I mean, your reaction is, it's a little more than the appropriate for the, anyway.
Yeah.
You're very committed to your viewpoint. And it's funny to me that you would defend, they just don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, I have a wife who's not a comedian at all. And so, yeah, sometimes you slip into it and you're like, no, this is not the time to be doing any of this right now.
Right.
Yeah. But it must be, is it different for you? Because you date a comedian? Do you guys like approach it differently? Or is like your relationship just kind of like outside comedy and you're not really like working on
I would say
material
that
together?
excuse is more likely to work if I go, I thought it was funny. I mean, she's more like, oh, okay. But I mean,
to get out of something?
I guess it gives me a little handicap in the argument,
Okay, yeah.
I get.
Like, why'd you say that? Oh, I thought it was funny.
Oh, I thought it was funny.
Okay.
So, there's some allowance, but for the most part, it's still real life with loaded weapons, and
I'm gonna try. I thought it was funny tonight, and I'll let you know.
Hey, it's gotten me out of quite a few jams.
Yeah, I'm gonna get into one tonight with this Tiger King.
Hey, good luck.
One thing we talk about in the pod is also like investing, but a lot of investing can also be like investing in yourself, and that's like setting up goals and things you want to accomplish. And now this is like the absolute weirdest time to be talking about goals and what's going to happen this year. But like, what are some of the things like you want to accomplish as a comedian this year?
Well, this year was the year I thought I would maybe get a special or an album or something like that to broadcast the act I've been working on for, I mean, the first couple of years are just trying to get not shitty, but
right.
For an amount of years, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years of work and touring and stuff, that I finally felt like, okay, I have this thing, and I've been on TV a few times. Hopefully I could get like a half hour or maybe a 15-minute or whatever, something to put out with an album. And that was something I thought might happen this year. And then I guess developing more, like I've done web series for Comedy Central and stuff, and like just kind of moving up to, I don't even know what Quibi is, but I think I'm on it. It's one of those things where you're like, I don't even know if I'm on this thing. But it's like, trying to get yourself I would love to put out a body of work and then start on a new one.
Right.
That's something I would
close
love
a chapter
to get done this year.
Yeah.
I would love to put something out creatively that's not stand up, like a web series or some sort of, I mean, even calling something a TV show now is like kind of nuts. It's like, that's a thing. You just say Hulu, show.
Yeah.
Or
it's
whatever.
A show.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe getting something, developing something, something like that with comedy. Also just figuring out having a thing like this. I mean, even if I just have a Bill Burr style, just me talking, like it does seem like, I think I'm to the point where I can confidently start my own podcast or web thing.
Yeah.
So something like that. And then probably, I don't know, get better at, there's certain things, like I always loved Michael Jordan. He always worked on, no matter how good he was like, what part could I, why am I not number one in rebounds? Why am I not, I'm doing great. Why am I not the best defensive player in the league? Like he would no matter what.
The week. Yeah.
So I know that crowd work and riffing are two. I mean, I've been pretty much focusing on developing my voice and joke writing and storytelling. And the things I would love to get better at is being able to riff longer. I could maybe riff 5% of my set now.
Yeah.
10%, like not much.
Like riffing, like what are you guys dating? Like that kind of riffing, or just
going, like just stuff that's not my act, stuff that's not my jokes that are prepared, like talking about either what has happened that day, or hey, this room's weird. What's up with this guy? Oh, just whatever off the freestyling. But yeah, crowd work and riffing are two things that I would like to be able to do. Like half my set is that, and now I know I'm not that good at it. And as
an observer of your comedy, like you have a very naturalistic way of talking, that your act, even though it is jokes like that are, you've written obviously, and they're going to be delivered in a certain manner, it feels like you're just a guy talking and riff. Like it comes out so naturally that it feels like you're riffing this hilarious stuff.
Well, I appreciate that, because I mean that means my illusion is working.
Yeah. But that's the illusion we're all trying to sell. Like that it's just, everyone knows and doesn't know. You know, it's like, we know there's something that he worked on this, but we're going to kind of pretend like he's not.
So that's what I've been focusing on since I started, was getting better at that.
Yeah.
And here are the jokes. They seem natural. They work and they're tight. And, I would like to focus on some other areas and improve, while still improving that too. I would like to get better at the crowd work part. I'd like to be able to do my whole set like that if I need to. I'd like to be able to riff a whole set, crowd work a whole set. I'd like to be able to tell right now, even a good story I got maybe 2.5, 3 minutes. I would love to have one of those killer 10-minute bits, you know?
Oh yeah. I just got my first 4-minute and I'm so excited about it.
That is
trying to cram it into 3. So,
because I would love to just tell a host, like, light me at 35. I got a 10-minute closer. I would love that.
Oh yeah.
So those are the 3 areas within the act that I'd like to focus on. I'd like to get better at that. Yeah.
Well, if you start a show, at the Comedy Bunker, I would basically only do crowd work and throw out some floating ideas of new bits. But it was like 10 to 15 minutes of crowd work, and it really develops that muscle when you're like, okay, I have no material for 2 reasons. One, most of this is repeat customers, so they've seen my act, so like I'm not going to hit them with that stuff all the time. And second, like I want to play with the crowd. I want to get them warmed up because my purpose of that show is also like it has to be a good show. So I'm here to like host and make sure the show is great before. I always put the show before me, which I think is part of the reason why it became a good show, if that makes sense. Like I wasn't putting myself third and doing 25 every week of the same jokes, which I guess would develop me in a different way, but I wanted it to be show first. And now it's over. I think
that's a great way to think about it.
At the time it was a good plan.
But that's how it goes sometimes. That's how you develop your skill. I think Malcolm Gladwell said a thing that I can't remember about that. But
10,000 hours or something?
Something good.
I saw him I was in New York doing some shows in November, and I saw him walking around the West Village with this box of like papers. I was like, oh, there's another book. It was wild. It was my only New York celebrity sighting. I was like,
wow, that's crazy.
And it just gave me this vision of like a different life. I'm like, man, like living in the West Village, just like being a dude. But now I'm really glad in LA because of the pandemic, obviously. But
as far as people like, should you move to New York or LA for comedy? It's like, we get to win this year. Maybe next year New York will be better.
Yeah, we definitely win this year.
But I get to go on a pretty walk with my mask on every day. So it's all good.
Yeah, the dream of me moving to New York, which has been a dream ever since I left New York. It's just like, I had that like Ace Frehley thing, like I'm not done, like I'm going to go back one day. And then, but now it's like, man, rough.
No, I ain't going to New York till I don't know.
But I don't even know if, like, New York aside, are we going to shake hands ever again? Are we going to sit next to each other at clubs?
Yes.
Are we going to share a French fry?
On. Yes.
You think so?
Yes. It'll be a while. That'll be like a year, but
a year? When you get the text, we can shake hands.
This is also, this is the thing about our generation is like, we're like, a whole shitty year all through it? Yes. There's a lot of generations had to deal, even if it's 2 shitty years. Like my granddad, his first 18 years were shitty. Great Depression, World War II. Like the whole from the second he was born, it wasn't good till he was like 20. So it's like, sometimes it's not good for a while. But as far as things not being good, this is pretty benign. It's like I'm sitting around, me and Jenny are going to watch The Hobbit or Star Wars or something. It's not bad.
Not bad.
I'm going to have another margarita. I'm going to have some chips. Like, I'm having a really good time. I'm reading more than I ever have. I'm hydrating. Like, I'm doing push-ups. I never did one of those in my life.
Dude, you could have a podcast about positivity. Like, you're making me feel good. Have a podcast about how great it is.
No one, honest to God, I think I'm taking it better than anybody.
I think you are too.
I don't know if that's good in the light of the tragedy or whatever, but it's like, we're playing Monopoly. When's the last time you did that?
Oh,
dude,
never.
It's pretty great. We just had a turkey burger with an egg on it. That was great.
Like in the commercial where it bleeds?
Yes.
When you slice
blood.
I mean, egg blood, like
egg blood,
egg
turkey
fetus
blood
or whatever.
I like my turkey medium bloody.
Ugh.
No,
but do it, man, because seriously, like you are
time.
taking it the best, and like you could just inspire people. They could call in and be like, "Hey, I'm not handling this well. Like, have you thought about this?
Right.
Have you thought about that?"
Well, a lot of people, honestly, and I say this jokingly all the time. It's like one of my favorite like dad jokes for a guy without kids.
Yeah.
But people go, "Oh, I'm really upset about the election." I go, "Change your mind," as if that could ever be helpful. Or they're like, "Oh, I've got heartburn." Change your mind. It's just a thing to say that I think is funny. Like
it is funny because no one will. It kind of throws you off even when you said it. You're like, I'm like, change my mind. Yeah. I mean, that's who I am.
They're like, "Oh, I'm not in the mood for pizza." Change your mind.
Yeah,
it's just funny to say, and sometimes it ends up working because it throws people off. But I think
that's why I don't talk about politics, because like people, why talk about politics? It's like you're never going to change their mind.
Right.
They just want to tell you.
As a conservative, I go, change your mind. And they go, "Oh, probably not." But yeah, it's fun to try. But I honestly think some people are just are thinking about it wrong. The thing is not as bad as they think it. They're just thinking negatively, and not to be a guru. But people are, I honestly think some people are just not, they just don't look on the bright side. Yeah. And they are looking at, and for some people, there is no bright side. Some people, life is just a nightmare and it's horrible and filled with misery. But
this could be one of those times when we look back and be like, wow, during Corona, I wish I had done these things.
Yeah. So
it's also important not to regret the time. Like, don't sit here and sulk. Do the things you want to do.
And not even with self-improvement. Some people are trying to be like, if I don't come out of this with a pilot, or if I'm not ripped, or if I'm not enlightened, or if I don't know another language. I love that term,
ripped.
Yeah. But people are trying to think about it like that. And I'm like, this is not what it's about. This isn't Rocky. You're not training for a fight. You're not training for the bar. Like, make a list of things you'll want to do. Mm-hmm. You want to do. Do those things.
I've started like the second I feel like I don't want to do something, I stop doing it.
I
know it's silly, but like that's what's keeping my mental state up is like I'm not slog. If it's a book that's like shitty, I'm putting the book down and going to another one. The show sucks, I'm doing something else. If I don't want to exercise today, I don't kill myself.
Yes.
If I want some cake, I eat some cake.
Eat that cake. Remember Adam Sandler's special when he's talking about learning to do a flip? I love that. Yeah. When you're a kid, you're like, if I can learn to do a flip, my life will be solved. I'll be able to flip.
Yeah.
Learn to do a flip.
I was a skateboarder, so like everything was like the next trick, like a kick flip or this and that.
Work on your skateboarding. It's just like, don't make everything an insurmountable mountain of like, oh, I gotta learn this language. That's too much pressure. I don't think that's what this is about. This is about not going nuts and enjoying it. Like, do you want to watch all of The Sopranos? Here's your chance.
That's your title for your pod, Not Going Nuts and Enjoying It with Caleb.
Don't go nuts and enjoy it. That's all of life. I've been doing that anyway, but it's like now is the time to really ramp it up. But that's my piece of advice. I got a Monopoly, ordered one, and playing Monopoly with like the little pieces.
Classic
and going,
Monopoly?
Ding, ding, ding. Yes. So fun. I couldn't recommend it.
Did you finish the game? Because no one's ever finished an entire...
I got eliminated first. So
you, Simon, and...
I've played with Simon. I've played with Ginny and Abby, Ginny's roommate.
How many hours was the game?
I don't know, 5, 6, something like that. But there's also breaks for food and for snacks and for bathroom and let's make another drink. Let's talk about Tiger King for an hour. Like the game fits your night pretty well.
So you leave it set up like in Seinfeld.
Yeah, you leave it set up overnight and get back to it. Yeah.
Love it. Well, dude, this was great. I feel motivated.
Dude.
If I had
to do whatever.
Lime juice, I would make a margarita right now in your honor.
Hey, I'll make one for you, buddy. Cheers.
Drink one for me. Caleb Synan, where do people find you online?
Well, interesting story. At Caleb Synan is my Instagram. That's also my Venmo if you want to get my special, which is just Venmo me whatever you want. I'll send you the 45-minute video or at calebsynan@gmail on PayPal. But they kicked me off Twitter because I was just, it weren't even mean. It was just Joe Biden jokes that was like me being like, I'll tell you, America, I thought I was going to get my car, but my truck did the job, and I love you. And it was just like nonsense speeches.
Yeah.
But they kicked me off Twitter for it. So
kicked you off?
Yeah, because they said it was impersonation. I didn't know that was.
Did you change your profile to his picture?
Yeah, I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
I thought it was fine. I was like, I'm a comedian. We're doing, So anyway, they kicked me off pretty quick. So now my Twitter is Dumb Caleb instead of Caleb Synan. So if you want to,
were you verified before?
No.
Oh, okay.
So I had like about 7,000 followers, and now it's down to like 300 because they got mad. But check me out at Dumb Caleb. I won't get kicked off.
Dumb Caleb.
Again, so.
He's not going to impersonate future possible presidents. And thanks for doing the pod, dude. Very inspirational.
Dude, thanks for having me. This was so fun. I'm in a great mood, and it was great to have a nice microphone and some human contact. So
I love it, dude. Have a great night, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, wash those hands.